It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go. Are you ready for the optimistic morning that you've been craving? Not my usual, the world is ending morning. Are you ready for the biggest dose of optimism you've ever had in your life? Here it comes. Here it comes. Some of you have been, and I appreciate it, very concerned about me because I've said that I was in great pain every day, muscle aches, and could barely walk up the stairs. And I said to you that if this lasted, I was going to check out, meaning I didn't want to live in that much pain. But I also told you, and this is a pretty good advice, I would never do anything in less than a year. I would always give myself a year to work it out, right? No matter how bad it was, no matter how much pain I was in, I could make it last a year, just to see if I could solve it. And I saw, was it Matthew McConaughey? Or I saw somebody's father gave them advice. I think it was Matthew McConaughey, telling a story about his father giving him advice. And it was some of the best advice I've ever seen in my life. And I've actually tried to incorporate it, and it's immediately useful. And I guess you could call it a reframe. And here it is. Do one more. That's it. That's the whole advice. You can do one more. You would be amazed how often that little bit of advice changes everything. I tried it out at the gym. So normally when I go to the gym, I lift until, sometimes I'm counting. I know I should, but usually I don't. I stop when my arm is tired. And then I said to myself, when I would stop, I'd say, all right, could you do one more? And the answer is almost always you can. You can almost always do one more. And it's amazing how motivational that is. Anyway, back to me. So for the last several months, I've been in pretty much, discomfort. And it had gotten worse to the point where I have to admit, and I don't want to be banned from YouTube for saying things that would be controversial. So I'm going to try to say it as medically as I can, all right? I was overwhelmed with suicidal thoughts for the last several weeks. Like, it's kind of all I thought about. Honestly, I didn't go a minute without thinking about it. Now, I was never close, as in I never made a plan, never thought I'll put together my concept for doing it or anything like that. It's just that I couldn't get it out of my mind because my life was not up to the quality of life that would have made any sense to continue, right? Now, there's definitely an irrational ending of your life, but there's also a rational time to do it. Let's say if you had Lou Gehrig's and you were in pain and you only had a month to live anyway, there are rational reasons to put yourself out of pain. And I thought I was in one. So I felt depression and I felt pain and I could barely walk up the stairs. Do I sound better today? You can tell, can't you? Can't you tell? Well, whatever was bothering me yesterday, you can tell it went away, right? It's obvious. Do you think that I solved my problem by taking a med? Do you think that's what I did? Do you think I took some pharmaceuticals and solved my problem in one day? No, you motherfuckers, I stopped taking this drug. And all my problems stopped. I fucking stopped taking this for one day. One day, everything's better. Everything. The suicidal thoughts, completely gone. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like my brain doesn't even know why I would even have those thoughts. Physical, completely fine. Walked 5 miles yesterday, half of it was uphill. No problem. No problem at all. And that was from the day before I was using the elevator in my own house. Yes, I have an elevator. Because the stairs were too much of a challenge. True story. One fucking day. Now, this was on my list if you were wondering how I solved it. And by the way, it's not solved. This is blood pressure meds. So my blood pressure is high right now. So I could still die. But it won't be today. So once it was really obvious that the meds were the problem, I Googled it. And I Googled, it's a beta blocker. Yep, somebody's on it. So somebody Google this or already knows. There are 2 types of blood pressure meds. One kind, a study showed those people kill themselves more often than they should. There is literally a study saying that people who take drugs in this class, I'm not going to tell you the specific one, I'm only going to tell you the class because I don't want to get sued. It's in a class of beta blocking blood pressure meds. The other is an ACE inhibitor. I don't know what the trade-off is. But I have the kind where there's a 2019 study saying it'll make you suicidal. The fucking drug did this. Everything you saw of my complete personality change over the last 3 weeks, you all saw it, right? If you watch me every day, you can't miss it, can you? You saw my personality change, didn't you? It was this. It was this little fucking thing. Can you believe that? Like it was that simple. Now, it's still not simple because I have to get my blood pressure under control, one way or another. But, oh my God. Now, keep in mind that the 2019 trial, or study, I guess, the 2019 study did not say that it was, an randomized controlled trial and confirmative. It was just saying people need to look into this. That's what most studies do. So I can't confirm that it's a problem. I can only confirm that after every single day of feeling terrible, the one day I didn't take this, I feel great. Mentally, physically, great. Not a problem in the world. So, don't you like good news? How about some more good news for you? That was my good news. And by the way, a lot of people reached out to me because they could see that I was in trouble, which I was. That was real, by the way. And it's the darndest feeling, and thank you. So let me say as clearly as I can, thank you. Thank you. All right? Yeah, because you knew I was in trouble. Now, I knew I was in trouble too, but here's the messed up part. When you're the one who's having the mental trouble, you can't help yourself, right? So I had to actually get outside of my body and actually become like a robot to narrow it down. So I think I showed you, I started with, all the possible things it could be, wrote them on my whiteboard, and I just went to, pure analytical Scott, because analytical Scott can operate independent from, emotional, angry Scott. So for a while, I just allowed myself to be like an actor. Just act like you're rational for a while. See what that would look like. And that was enough to get me out. So I was rational enough to narrow down the things. But I'll tell you, the things I couldn't do things like just make a doctor appointment that I knew I needed to make. Because I guess the dopamine was gone or something. So the thought and the action were disconnected for a long time. But now I feel them connected. Today, if I wanted to make a doctor appointment, I would just make a doctor appointment. Yesterday, it seemed impossible. All right. Enough about me. I only mention this because I think it's generalizable. If you're worried about your mood, check your meds.